firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Tempo. I need more of it. And according to Liam Cohen, we upped the level of competition. Apparently, they're in the competition phase. Remember, it was a learning phase, not necessarily a competition phase. And they have advanced. It is the final week until 23rd, 24th day of July. It's a big week around here over at the Miller Electric Center. That includes you tomorrow with an opportunity. Hopefully you got your tickets. I don't know if they're already sold out. If so, go to Jaguars.com. But we have tomorrow morning, and then we have Thursday morning. And the Thursday morning session, I believe, is going to be, lessened as far as the overall time. But this is it. And for me, that is bad. I mean, I love off-season camps. I love training camp when we'll get here. But, I mean, today, for example, you just get so much to look at, so much to observe, and then come here and talk about it after the fact. I've always stated that I love the off-season more than the actual games because, obviously, once the regular season starts, everything is measured with wins or losses. Right now, wishful thinking is a part of it. And you can daydream, you can into the night dream, you can perhaps go glass half empty. Really doesn't matter which way you want to do it. But again, the end result is not there because you don't play 60 minutes of football. All right, good to have you with us. My name is Rick Ballou with you tonight till 8. Dylan Denmark with us as well. We got an opportunity to see Travis Hunter on defense. Freak athlete. I mean, just unteachable skills. And in speed. And, it was interesting at one point where he was working with both defensive back coaches. He did this primarily when special teams were working. But because Travis Hunter's had most of his time spent on offense, and every practice that we've been able to see, every OTA that we've been able to witness, he has been exclusively an offensive player. And, Liam Cohen told us a long time ago that he was not going to mix and match. He was not going to have him play some offensive plays and turn around and have him play some defensive plays. And you know what? Since this is something that we have never seen before, I tend to agree with that. I think it's the right way. I was pleasantly surprised, however, to see him work defensively. I remember conversations I've had with several different guests, including John Osher last Wednesday night, that, kind of the feeling around town was, why showcase it now? You've seen him on offense. We'll continue to show you what he can do on offense, but why throw him out there and put it in front of the media or put it in front of the fans defensively until you really have to do that, which, again, would be in late July. Today was different, and we got our opportunity to look at Hunter. I've always said this. I think he's a better, pure defensive player than he is an offensive player. And I don't want you to misread that. He is spectacular offensively. Okay, he had that one big drop, and, some of the national media and whatever have been questioning his route running and stuff like that. Well, all rookies have questionable route running. Rookies are so good at the wide receiver position. They were so good in college that a lot of times they are just able to showcase their God-given ability, and they don't have to run those sharp, crisp, disciplined routes. When you get to this level, everything changes. So, if you came in here and you couldn't run, that's one thing. If you came in here and you couldn't catch the ball, that's another thing. Route running is coachable. Route running is teachable. As a matter of fact, I got up with Edgar Bennett about that last week, who, of course, was born and raised here and has been around the NFL. He is now the wide receiver coach for the Jaguars. We're going to play that for you probably later this hour or next hour, but he's looked really, really good on offense. I think he's better on defense. I do. Now, I'm not going to question the plan. You score 18.8 points a game. You invest all this money in Trevor Lawrence. Your best player is Brian Thomas Jr. You have to figure it out sooner than later. It's either going to work with Trevor Lawrence or it's not going to work with Trevor Lawrence. So surround him with the best that you can, and that is what this football organization has done. So I support him being primarily an offensive player, but again, not to be redundant, I just think his best position is a corner. But we did see him today work with Anthony Perkins. We saw him work with Milo. Ron Milas alone in the secondary, where, again, most of the special teams work was actually taking place. So it was a good early morning as far as that is concerned. It was really a pleasure to see Travis Hunter get to work on defense. I guess the only disappointment, and I'm trying to remember who I actually said this to me, reps. Back in the day when it was Coughlin and it was Burnell, whatever, it just felt like first-team reps. I mean, everyone wanted those first-team reps. It's almost like you wanted them. And it just with 4 quarterbacks and with so many mixes and matches, and I understand there's always been a 90-man roster, but it just feels like you're not getting enough, if that makes sense. And Travis Hunter, they brought along slowly today. I wanted to see him out there. Time and again. I'm not going to get into position. I'm not going to get into the depth chart. I'm not going to get into any of that stuff out of respect for the Jaguars' public relations, because they're good enough to us. That'll come in time. And also on the other side, looking at Trevor Lawrence as well, it's like, I want more. Hey, it was talked about today that his arm actually in a sleeve, nothing to be overly concerned about. Liam Cohen did go out and say it is because of general soreness. He has thrown the football around quite a bit over the last 3 weeks. And 11 practices, 10 OTAs, and 1 mandatory minicamp. I think it's ahead of what most people believed after the offseason, surgery to his non-throwing shoulder. But nonetheless, we did get to see that a little bit earlier today. All right, I would appreciate a moment. It's been very difficult for me personally after losing my dad yesterday. It was, anyone who's lost someone they love knows exactly what it's about. But I just wanted to spend a minute on this because, my dad for 25 years or so used to come on with me every week and make his picks. I mean, he did it in Tallahassee with me. He did it in Chicago. He did it here in Jacksonville. And he still listened to Into the Night every single Monday through Friday. This will be the first time he hasn't listened in a very, in years. His schedule had changed since we lost my mom and his wife about 2.5 years ago. And he did his little things. He'd been born and raised in Boston, good ball player, drafted by the Washington Senators, then drafted into the Army, and then came out, met my mom, great salesman, phenomenal coach, and, teacher. And recently he had left Boston and moved to Tampa, but his routine had turned into, going to the convenience store to get scratch tickets, going to Publix, bumping into certain people that he knew and he loved, and then at 3 o'clock, bam, right there on the golf course off of the 16th hole, he'd take his golf cart and drive about a mile right outside of the complex and go to this bar called The Landing, which is a Cheers-like bar. And he'd have 2 Beefeater gin martinis and tell war stories and have a blast. And he'd be back by 6 o'clock and tell Alexa to put on 92.5 FM here, and we'd listen every night. And it was great because he loved it so much. He's always been a sports guy. And then the show would end, and at 8 o'clock, I would walk outside and walk around the parking lot here and always give him a quick call. And we'd talk for 5 minutes or so. And, it would be the same thing. Reggie, how are the Jaguars? What do you think about Trevor Lawrence? And it would be hilarious because he would tell me that he just got done listening to the 2-hour show, which I believe that he did. But then he would basically at times ask me the exact same question. Or, what do you think about Florida State? And it was just such a phenomenal relationship. I just have to tell you that I adored my dad. He was the greatest. And, he was so likable. He found a way, no matter where he went, to absolutely get the best out of everyone. And for that reason, I couldn't believe when he died in my arms yesterday at 2. He took his final breath. And the day prior, probably 40 people came by that he had only known for a couple of years. I mean, from 22 years of age to 75 years of age, just wanted to pay their final respects to him as the morphine had begun to hit, and he was going away, and that really got me because he had only been here for such a short period of time, 7 years, but 5 of those years he was still with my mom. Most of these people that he became really friendly with was recent, but he was a healthy guy, and he would have been 88 next week. He would have been 88 in a month, and he had kidney surgery. When my girlfriend and I were supposed to go to the Keys a month ago, and then my brother lives there on the 6th hole with his wife, my dad on 6, and he's like, Dad, just something seems like it's off. So I'm like, all right, well, let me spend the week. Let's cancel the trip to the Keys. Let me go over to Tampa, and I did that a month ago, and he was fine, sharp as a tack. We did everything, and then he had the kidney surgery. When they went in there, they discovered the full cancer, pancreas and liver and all that. And you kind of knew that it was time, but I was in a little bit of denial. I was like, that's my dad. He's gonna beat it. But I've been going back week after week after week, or weekend after weekend after weekend, I should say. Last weekend I was there. He was okay. Cathetered in, not perfect. And then I got there Saturday, and finally Saturday night I was trying to get him into the bathroom, and his legs just went out, and that was it. We put him in bed, and he would never get out again. And he just said, listen, I've had 87 unbelievable years. I don't want to do chemotherapy. I don't want to do any of that. I want to go. So that was the hardest part, to understand that he wasn't going to make it. And that is so hard on anyone. But that was the most difficult part, is to tell him to go. We got it. You did it all. Go see mom. Don't fight it anymore. Just go ahead and go to heaven. And, that was a little bit reassuring. Personally, it was hard to do, but I will say this. If I'm never one to tell you what to do, give advice, especially when it comes to family. But I will say this in general. If you're into it with someone the other way, and you hold a grudge, and you have ill feelings, I would do your best to try to correct that. I never had that problem with my dad. I adored my dad. I absolutely wanted to grow up and be like my dad. But I'm just saying, in general, if you find that you're in that position, you may want to try to make amends, because I would hate for you to be in a position where you don't get to tell a loved one what you feel. I was able to do that my entire life, even when he disciplined the living snot out of me growing up in Boston. You youngers, you don't know that the belt used to come into play. Spankings used to come into play. Groundings used to come into play. I'm a divorced dad. I know what it was like growing up with my girls. You couldn't discipline them. You're a divorced dad. The laws here in Florida suck. You get them on Wednesday and every other weekend. You're not going to, but it was different then. It really was. And it was also different when I went away. I'm sure he wanted me to go to UMass. He would never say it because he was proud and he wanted me to go live my life. But it was very territorial. Everyone that I grew up around in Boston, they all stayed there. They never left. They married high school sweethearts and people and whatever. I mean, I know that's changed recently, but that wasn't the case in the 80s. Basically, everyone stayed. A lot of cities that way, a lot of states that way. But that was it. And I'm wearing a Red Sox shirt tonight that I haven't worn in a while. I will say that the final game that we watched was Sunday night, the Red Sox beating the Yankees. And even though he couldn't understand any of it because he was starting to go under, I kept telling him exactly what was going on. So I just want to say that I love my dad, and I'm going to miss him very much. I do thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Hi, I'm Mike Ditkin.
I'm Jeremy Mincy. I'm Amani Toomer.
You're listening to 1010XL.
1010XL. 1010XL.
92.5 FM.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound and Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
And welcome back to another episode of Potty Talk with our current champion. So what's your secret to your perfect plumbing proficiency?
It's simple, really. Roland Reach Plumbing is always the right answer.
Roland Reach Plumbing, 260-7059.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and it's always great when you can replace a problem with a promise. And let me get right down to it. When it comes to Chad and Sandy and selling your home, here's a promise that you can count on. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Now, more. Spring selling season is here. Rates are down. Activity's up. Now's the best time in years to sell your home. Some homes are sitting on the market, though, and hiring an expert who can maximize your equity and minimize hassle is the key. Those expert agents, and I'm recommending them to sell your home, Chad and Sandy Newman. There have been lots of you out there on the First Coast who are taking advantage. Take David and Heather in Fox Ridge. This is out in Orange Park. We wanted to move to Keystone Heights to get closer to family, away from the city. We heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. What you hear is true. We got multiple offers and sold in 3 days for $15,000 above asking price. Call the local experts I trust and recommend to sell my home and yours. Call Chad and Sandy, 414-6200, ChadAndSandy.com.
I'm Max Fink, and I'm your Gator Updater. Listen for the Gator Report several times a week on 1010XL.
Freshened up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gator! It's E.T. here, and did you know that slow speed accidents can still cause serious injuries? Ignoring minor pain today can mean big problems tomorrow. Don't wait. Call my guys at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center, the auto accident experts.
Out here, you'll find a community of hardworking creators with loyal followers, along with proud moments worth sharing. And farm to table, well, that's just supper. And whether it's a raised garden bed, acres of land, or something for your animals, we've got all the supplies and are happy to share a little know-how.
Welcome to Tractor Supply, into life out here.
I'm Drew Scrimshire, president and publisher of the Jacksonville Business Journal. In business, timing is everything. That's why every morning at 8:15, our morning edition delivers the most important business news straight to the inboxes of Jacksonville's decision makers, executives, entrepreneurs, investors, and industry leaders. Want to know what the First Coast power players are reading before they start their day? Join them. Subscribe today to the Jacksonville Business Journal Morning Edition at bizjournals.com/Jacksonville.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beards has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands, wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beards now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beards can. And it's happening now through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol, Beards Diamonds, at St. John's Town Center.
They were right. It could have waited. I can't believe it happened to me. Reaching to check my phone. Now my family has to hear that I'm never coming home again.
Officer?
I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
Every day, 9 people on Florida roadways don't make it home. I was one of the people that didn't make it home.
Ride with Do Not Disturb. Every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Some of my dad's music, a little Lou Rawls to get things kicked off. And you'll never find. I mean, don't you dare try to switch the dial if he had this on. Particularly in the station wagon, an old school AM rock. When this came out in the mid-'70s.
You'll never find.
So again, thank you. I do appreciate it. That meant a lot to me. And
someone who loves you.
That's really all I can say. I am again going there Friday to Tampa. Then we'll do it in Boston next week. That's going to be a mess. That is. At least when I talk, then I can have some cocktails in me, some Irish whiskey in me to kind of get prepped up for it. What I just did there was stone sober, and it's difficult. I'm not one of those who says, hey, listen, you got to be boozing. But when something like that's happening, it's a lot easier to maybe have 3 fingers worth down in the midst of your gut. Dylan Denmark, how you doing, young man?
I'm doing good, Rick. All is well over here. Good to see you back. Sorry about your father.
Yeah.
And Jags were on the field today, tomorrow, Thursday. And I've been watching a lot of hockey since Friday.
Ooh. Yeah, I was sorry to miss that remote. We're going to be out there for Game 4 Thursday night at the Igloo. I'll give you those details coming up here momentarily. But Florida last night, I mean, how about Brad Marchand now? 3 straight games with a goal at the age of 37, the oldest to do it. Took no time putting them up 1-0. They blow out Edmonton 6-1. At the very end of the game, we had some old school hockey, nearly 5-on-5 fighting towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I missed the fight, but game 2, I saw the end of the double overtime. Saw the game-winning goal. Game 3, I watched a little bit of the second period, and I saw the score was out of hand. I was like, man, I'm out of this. Because I've heard how great Game 1 and 2 were, so I'm like, Game 3 will be the same. No, it hadn't been like that, so I'll watch the Game 4 when I get home, whenever the next game is, and I will tune in then.
I just want a 7-game series. I don't want this to go away. I don't want I'll be as honest as I always am. I'm not, and I'm going to bring Blaylock back on tomorrow night, get ready for game. Jessica Blaylock, who, of course, covers the Florida Panthers, to get ready for Game 4 on Thursday. But, I mean, I want it to be 3-3. I want to get a Game 7. It has been so phenomenal, the entire playoffs. Last night got sideways. And you would expect that in some games, no matter what happens in a 7-game series, whether it's the NBA or whether it's, Major League Baseball, typically that is going to happen, but these games have been just spot on with the exception of last night. Okay, tonight's show brought to you by Alexander Law Practice. Again, we care about you here. 1010XL and 92.5 FM, especially on into the night. And if you have been injured in a car accident, you need to know your rights. You may be in a shell right now. Your car could be messed up. You have bills that are just growing and growing. You're not able to get to work. Regardless of what it is, you may feel that you're alone and that there is no support. That is not the case. You need to contact the good folks at Alexander Law Practice. I've known Rick Alexander for a while. We're talking about more than 30 years worth of experience when it comes to those who have been injured in an automobile crash. Now, most of these, especially today, happen because of careless drivers. And if you're on the other end of that, you need to know your rights. You will never come out of pocket at Alexander Law Practice. You're going to get an immediate call back, which is huge, and you're going to get the individualized attention that you deserve. Just go to Alexander Law Practice, or for a free review, give them a call at 400-6600. One of the newest members of the Jacksonville Jaguars is center Robert Hany. He came over, as we know, with Liam Cohen from Tampa to Jacksonville. Today was practice session number 11. Officially, it was considered day one of mandatory minicamp, and I had a chance to catch up with the Jaguars center. All right, mandatory minicamp, day one here at the Miller Electric Center. One of the newly acquired members of the Jaguars, Robert Hany. First things first, man, what do you think of this facility here at the Miller Electric Center?
This facility's great. I really enjoyed it. I think everyone said it's like only a year or two old.
Yep.
They used to be in the stadium. So from what I can tell, like, it's great for me. From what I can tell, it was a big upgrade moving here. So I think they crushed it. It's been good being in Jacksonville, though.
10 OTAs, one minicamp. How much have you learned? How much have things changed offensively after those 11 practices?
I think we're doing a great job really kind of coming together, and everyone's buying into the offense and what the identity we want that offense to have. Figuring out some different techniques that are going to help this offense go. Playing together as a unit, offensive line-wise, playing together as a unit, offensively total, has really grown through phase one, phase two, OTAs, and now minicamp. Like, it's tangible, getting to know each other. Obviously, we had a lot of new pieces, myself included. We draft guys, new pieces there. Everyone's kind of figuring it out. We got a lot of new offensive terms. It's different for a lot of people. It's been similar for me, which has been helpful for me, and I felt like I've been able to kind of help others with that as well. So the growth has been exponential, and I think we're going to keep going that way. It's just getting our feet under us and taking off.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because you're the one player that comes over with Liam Cohen, and obviously you are very familiar with the system. You feel like you knew it, but it's more of explaining to other guys what actually needs to take place.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that as much as I can when guys are confused about things. Like, we've put a lot in, and that it takes time to learn. Everyone's going to learn it a little bit differently, so if there's queries, like, I can kind of tell guys how I know it.
Right.
Maybe that'll help. Maybe I can help them find a way they know it. It's going to be slightly different for every person. And for me, I was just trying to enhance my knowledge of it,
right.
Understand it at another level, a deeper level, not just what I knew last year, but what else can I get from this, and how's it going to help me on the field? So that's been interesting too.
The offensive line has really struggled around here. It's been a major problem for several years. Great opportunity for you as well as this team to be able to come out, run the ball, and also pass protect for Trevor Lawrence. Just your overall thought about deciding to come here, with the understanding that this is probably the Achilles heel of this organization.
I think, deciding to come here, it was by far, my best option. My one thing I wanted was to go play. I want to go play football, as much football as I can, to the best of my ability. Whoever was going to give me the best opportunity to do that, I was going to be. Coming with Liam was a bonus. Getting to meet all the guys here who are great, huge bonus. And I think they've done a great job of instilling the identity that we are going to be better by being ourselves. We don't have to be anyone else. Individually, we have to be who we are and do what we do best at our best at all times, and as a group, same thing. Do our best at all times, no matter what. Do that by being who you are. We don't have to be superheroes. And so, to your question, I mean, it's a great opportunity always to get with a new group and to try to lead and instill whatever different people believe and find out what our identity is as the 2025 Jaguars.
Last one for you. You had some great receivers around you in Tampa with Godwin and Mike Evans. But what's it like to see these young guys and the speed that they have?
Unbelievable. We have unbelievable weapons. We have unbelievable skill positions. We have a great defense. I look around, I'm new here still, but when I was first here, I look around the locker room and say, man, these guys are not hurting for talent. Just looking around. So that gives us, I think that should give everyone a ton of hope that we can really continue to rise and grow as a team and organization and have a great year because of it.
Robert, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Robert Hany, starting center for the Jacksonville Jaguars, comes over with Liam Cohen. Really nice young man. Enjoyed the conversation with him, and he's going to be under the microscope. But we know that this entire offensive line is going to be absolutely really looked at. And I won't mention any names, but I was talking with a former player today about a couple of guys in the offensive line, and it just wasn't a great vibe. Without question, this is the biggest concern on this football team. I mean, you got to take Trevor Lawrence to the next level. You're going to go nowhere with that if the team can't find a way with him. But such an important part of that is to get much better on that offensive line. Credit the organization. You're well aware of it, okay, as fans. 6 new offensive linemen. And it is going to be competitive. I said this during crosstalk with Frank and Hayes. I loved that there was a feeling today at the Miller Electric Center that the pass rush really got after it. Good day for Walker. Good day for Josh Hines-Allen. Good day for Emmanuel Ogbah. Good day for Dwan Smoot. And, okay, I'll listen, but I said this to a former player who kept on favoring the defense and the defense and the defense over the offense. And I was like, how can you really tell? I mean, if you're not able to truly pass protect with pads on, how can you really figure out that it was a great day for the passer? Maybe some people have a better eye than I do when it comes to that. Okay? I shouldn't say that because Shmunez Vision gives me phenomenal eyes. Maybe a better knowledge of the understanding of the game. I happen to be one that's like, no way. Until you put the pads on and you really get in the ditch and get after one another, yeah, the defense is going to be ahead. But I thought it ended up being a really good balanced day, offensively and defensively. Trevor Lawrence is clearly more comfortable now than he was day one. You go back to that first practice, it was rocky for Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, he turned the ball over quite a bit, but we also know it was the first time he threw the football in 3.5 months after he had the surgery to his non-throwing shoulder. He has settled in. And, I look at that long, it was reported, so I can say this. He threw a bomb today to Brian Thomas Jr., where there's only a few combinations in the world that can make that play. Great hands, down the sideline, deep ball, really good coverage by Tyson Campbell. I mean, top notch. If you've seen some, I don't want to overdo it, but if you go pull up the videos of like Jerry Rice against Deion Sanders, it's like they both got each other. They were so good that they were both going to get theirs. Deion has like impeccable coverage on Jerry Rice, but Jerry Rice still makes a grab. And then there's for a touchdown. Then there's other times where, Deion is able to get a pass deflection in or actually pick the ball off. Tyson Campbell was beat on this play, but it was spectacular coverage. It was a situation where the ball was perfectly placed by Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr., who again has had just an unbelievable camp. Maybe I'll do that next week or when camp ends, kind of go through who I thought really separated themselves from others. Again, it's kind of bizarre because they're not in pads, But those are two I would put in there. They're certainly in the top 5. Tyson Campbell and Brian Thomas Jr. Then Campbell made a great defensive play a little bit later on. So, with 2 practices remaining and then about a 5-week lull, I would have to believe that they're pretty happy over there and that you as Jaguar fans should be pretty happy about what you've heard. Camp has been attended for the most part, around 99%. There's been a guy off here, a guy off there, injury-related, a missed flight. There was a situation today, one of the undrafted free agent wide receivers, Cam Camper, I believe Liam Cohen said because of a childbirth or a young child. I don't know. It got a little hectic there because Cohen was talking, and then I was getting ready to leave the scrum, if you will, to go talk with Robert Hany. So I don't know if I heard that correctly or perhaps incorrectly. But the point I'm trying to get at is, well-documented holdouts throughout the league, right? Cincinnati, Miami, New England. You can just go on and on. Atlanta. You look at, players who have just said, I'm not going to show up. That hasn't been the case here. And even the rumor a few weeks ago with Travis Etienne was a rumor. Apparently he missed the flight, and Liam Cohen came out and had only positive things to say about the running back. All right, let's begin to get you involved with the program tonight. 641-1010, the best way for you to join us on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. You can also listen in on YouTube, 1010XL into the night. I want to play Edgar Bennett, all right? Caught up with him last week. And obviously, he has got some serious tools in the shed, if you will, in these young wide receivers. One already a superstar, another one with this opportunity. But, Bennett's a guy from here, and he returns back. So I certainly do ask him about that. But I want you to hear from the wide receiver coach, Edgar Bennett. So that's coming up along with you. Again, 641-1010 on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. And you can get us on YouTube. Just go to 1010XL into the night.
Live play-by-play sports were made for radio.
Well, there is advertising worth the price of admission.
And 1010XL was made for you.
As a Florida homeowner, you're no stranger to mosquito problems. And although it's tempting to use DIY methods to get rid of them, mosquitoes are relentless. That's why it's important to enlist the help of the mosquito experts at Florida Pest Control. At Florida Pest Control, we offer specialized treatment solutions that are effective against mosquito infestations and are committed to keeping our customers protected year-round. For your free quote, give us a call or visit flapest.com today. Florida Pest Control, your local mosquito control experts.
A chipped windshield can turn into a big problem fast. Lauren Brooks here. Trust Novus Glass of Jacksonville for expert repair and replacement. Call 904-289-2905 for Novus Glass in Orange Park. 904-289-2905.
Jacksonville, you know a good defense wins games, and a good fence protects your home. Frank Frangie here. Coil Fencing has been around the block since 1927. Literally, they probably fenced it too. From tough chain length to sleek aluminum fences your HOA will love, Coil is the name to trust. Nearly a century strong and still standing tall. Call Coil today. You can trust them. Call 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E Jacks.com.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coating. Pool decks, driveways, garages, patios, we coat them all to make your neighbors jealous.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 10th, 1981, Pete Rose ties Stan Musial's NL record of 3,630 hits.
You're
home is more than walls and a roof. It's where you breathe, drink, and power through life. At Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to keep it all running smoothly. From clean, cool air to clean water, reliable power to expert plumbing, we do it all. For over 35 years, families have trusted Donovan to make their homes healthier, safer, and more comfortable. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing today. 904-270-COOL, where health meets home.
The 2025 season schedule has dropped, and single-game tickets are on sale now. Be at the bank to watch Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars take on the biggest names in the NFL. Don't miss your favorite matchup and secure your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. See you this fall, Jags fans.
Yes, sir. That's the best decision.
I love it. Hacker here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Look, the summer has arrived. Memorial Day is in the rearview mirror. It's vacation season for me, and over the next couple of weeks, whether it's a cruise, going out to Las Vegas, I'm going to bust out the tank tops, man. I'm going to show off the bod a little bit. Now, would I have done that 100 pounds ago? Of course not, but thanks to the great folks at Awaken 180 Weight Loss, I really have a new lease on life. It's life-changing. I'm in the maintenance program now, doing really well, right? The weight is not coming back on. That's almost as rewarding, if not a little more rewarding. It's one thing to lose the weight. It's something else to keep it off. I've been able to do that with the great folks of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. If it's time in your life to make that change like it was for me, go to awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Have you been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder? You may qualify for a new clinical research study. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso is now enrolling participants to evaluate the effectiveness of a non-opioid medication treatment option for OUD. Qualified participants will receive study-related care at no cost and may be eligible for reimbursement of travel and accommodations. To qualify, applicants must be 18 to 65 years old, have been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder, and have not been on medication to treat opioid use in the last 3 months. The study lasts up to 22 weeks, with weekly visits during treatment. If you're ready to explore a new path forward, visit OUDstudy.com for more details and qualifications. Take the first steps and visit OUDstudy.com. That's OUDstudy.com. OUDstudy.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has been a legend on-road. They've branched out to their off-road division as well. Give us the latest on what you can find on the asphalt.
They've got some great new products. They've got the Scrambler 400s you can get into for a little less than you might think. It's a great price point bike, but still a Triumph.
So affordability is also part of the equation.
It is, and it looks good, and it rides good.
CyclesofJacksonville.com, or check them out on their Facebook page. The showroom ready and waiting for you on Atlantic near Regency at Cycles of Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Game 3 of the NBA Finals. That'll be tomorrow night. Locked at 1. OKC and Indy series shifts to Indianapolis. We'll see how long that goes after the major shakeup. Come from behind winning game 1 for the Pacers. Of course, same deal in the NHL. They're actually going to continue to take the extra day. It was really bizarre not to have an NHL game over the weekend. You know, the College World Series, I guess the Super Regionals, were very entertaining, but I'll tell you, I missed it. We got it last night. And again, a little bit of a laugher there for Florida. But game 4 coming up again in Miami. That'll be on Thursday night. Disappointing news for many, especially Seminole fans. They were hoping that game day in what is going to be, I guess, a one and done for Lee Corso. His final game is going to be Ohio State and Texas. There was a lot of talk that, Bama visiting Florida State that Lee Corso, of course, playing his college football at Florida State, that is where they were going to put that game. But that is not going to happen. So that has been announced. Instead, they're going to go with Ohio State, Texas. Pretty tough to argue the point. It's a better game. I mean, Bama's an 8.5, 9-point favorite on the road. Much as I would love for it not to be the case, I mean, Florida State coming off a 2-10 season. And, everything that's coming out of Tallahassee is damp. It really is. I mean, there's hopeful expectations, but everyone who says it has their fingers crossed. And I think realistically, it's how many games can you really win? Can you win 7? Can you win 8? And if you're talking about a 7-5, and you're talking about a 6-6, even an 8-4 with my standards are unacceptable in year 6 of Mike Norvell. Unacceptable. I mean, it's scary. It really is. Think about year 6, and you don't know if this guy can coach. I mean, that is filthy. That is unbelievable. I mean, you knew in a year and a half that Willie Taggart couldn't coach. You knew in a year and a half that Jimbo Fisher could really coach. You're 6 years in or getting ready for you don't know. I've never been so confused in my life. It's what does he do well? We know what he doesn't do well. He's a terrible in-game coach, and he's an awful recruiter. What does he do well? He's a rah-rah guy. I don't know if rah-rah works anymore. Rah-rah's been replaced by NIL. Rah-rah's been replaced by show me the money. And I'll tell you something, Dylan, before we get to a former Seminole and Edgar Bennett. I don't even look at recruiting anymore. When I see that they're bringing in a recruit or they have a shot at a recruit, my instant reaction is, well, if he's any good, he's just going to flip anyway on signing day.
Yeah, and, it's funny, recruiting is heating up right now in the months of June and July. I mean, last year, 80% of the high school recruits committed verbally before they started their senior season high school football. And obviously, a lot of that can change with NIL coming in with another team at the last minute. So, a lot of schools are taking their official visits. I know I've been paying attention to Florida because they've gotten, they got 3 commits the last couple of days. But I only know about Florida. And it's still early. Rutgers is in the top 10 right now in recruiting. So, a lot can change in the next couple of weeks.
I think if you look at the big 3 in the state, they can switch on a dime. All right. I mean, look at the Billy Napier situation until Scott Strickland announced he wasn't going anywhere. And then I'll credit the Florida players. I've said this forever. Even when you were losing games last year, those kids at Florida played hard. They played for Billy Napier. You can't say that about a lot of other college teams. The schedule is brutal, and the momentum is there. They had a very good final, 4 or 5 game stretch. Certainly beating Mississippi and LSU, and even though Florida State was down, it's still a rival. It was a good run. And you got a quarterback who's now throwing the football, but he's going to be under the microscope. That could turn with that schedule. He gets nicked up. You lose games. All these Gators are all in right now. They could switch. Mario Cristobal, we have not forgotten him not taking a knee 2 years ago against Georgia Tech. I watch Miami play every game every year, as I always do. They had phenomenal come-from-behind victories last year, and then they let it get away late. The whole Carson Beck deal. We'll see. But I think there's a chance for the feeling of all 3 of these programs to immediately change. Right now, Florida State, it's thumbs down. Right now, Florida Gator, it's thumbs up. Right now, Miami, I'm still going to say I think it's thumbs up for the most part because you were able to replace Cam Ward with Carson Beck. And, you left a little bit to be desired late in the year. You didn't make it to the playoff. You didn't win the ACC, which was expected. But only time will tell. All right, let's get to Edgar Bennett. Wide receiver coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars Had an opportunity to sit down with him last week. Here's our conversation.
First things first, you played with Dion.
I did.
Does Hunter remind you of Dion as a 20, 21-year-old?
I'll just say it this way. Hunter is Hunter and Dion is Dion.
Okay.
They're both unique and special in their own way.
Right. What's it like to have this much talent, this much speed, when you add Brown as well, and obviously the return of Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yes, each and every guy is unique in their own way. Obviously, like you said, all of them can run. And so it's more of the men that are in the room, their mindset, their work ethic, and kind of putting it all together. And I think right now the goal is for us to just continue to be the best version of ourselves day in and day out. And if we do that, when we do that, we'll continue to improve, we'll continue to get better. And it'll be something that I think we'll all be proud of on the field.
Liam Cohen has alluded to it a couple of times about taking guys and putting them in positions that never been before. He said that about Diami Brown. How exciting is that to know that what you've seen on film and now putting together a scheme and whether it's different positions or different routes, just having them do things, again, that they haven't done?
It's exciting. The number one thing is all of our players are very coachable. And so taking on different roles or different tasks and taking the coaching points that go along with those responsibilities or assignments, I think, they take it on, they have a great attitude, and they put in great, tremendous effort in trying to go out and accomplish it.
What's this like for you, Edgar? Born and raised here, played down the road at Florida State. You've been around the NFL for a number of years, but now the opportunity to come back home here and coach.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I struggle as far as putting it into words. I mean, because it's almost, for me, full circle. Being able to come back home, it's hard to put in words, but it's tremendously special. I wish my mom and dad could have been here to see this moment. But being home with my family, my brothers and sister, and my nephews, it's special. It's different. It's different. It rates up there pretty high. Good. Being fortunate to have been a part of 2 championship teams and getting an opportunity to come home and be a part of something special with Coach Cohen and Tony and James. I'm extremely excited and blessed to have the opportunity.
It's great to hear. Thank you, Edgar.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
Wide receiver coach Edgar Bennett, and again, his first year in Jacksonville. It's good to have the return of Edgar Bennett, and he's got 3 dynamic playmakers. We talk about them every show. Travis Hunter, Diami Brown, of course, the great Brian Thomas Jr. Parker Washington, I think it's a solid 4. That 5th spot wide open. Feels like Joshua Cephas may be the leader in the clubhouse. He had a good day today. He absolutely did. The undrafted rookie out of Duke has had a nice camp. Eli Pancall. And number 88 today performed well. It's the first time I'll mention his name. Darius Lassiter. Has he been mentioned on some other shows?
No, I just know there was when he played, so he went to BYU, but before he went to BYU, he was at Butler Community College, and his quarterback is one of our coaches at the Baldwin. So I know a lot about him, and he's told me a couple of stories about how he took over a couple of games at JUCO before he went to BYU.
Yeah. Caught my eye today, made some plays. Absolutely made some plays. And, when you get past Washington at 4, you hope you don't have to use a 5th or 6th wide receiver. Let's be honest about this. You want to use your top 4. And the good thing about Washington, even last year, he played all 3 wide receiver positions. I won't get into where they're using them so far this year until they state it or it's reported elsewhere. Again, that's my obligatory. I respect the public relations and what they want us to do, and better yet, what they don't want us to do. But your 5th and 6th wide receivers better be able to do what? They better be able to play special teams. So that's what it comes down to. And it just, I believe I can say this. I mentioned it today as we get ready for the top of the hour break, is we saw finally Travis Hunter defensively today. Did a little bit of work on special teams today. Outside of really place kicking and even Logan Cook as a punter. Congratulations to him and his extension, 4-year deal. It feels like, at least while we've been out there, hasn't been a lot of special teams work, a lot of return work, a lot of kickoff work. Maybe that's something that they do while there's not media accessibility, or maybe they'll really amp that up once training camp gets underway. That's all I can say as far as that. But, I mean, this is one of the better special teams units in the NFL. You have arguably the best kicker-punter combination in the NFL, arguably. And, again, Logan Cook got a 4-year deal. You're aware of that. That came in on Monday. All right, let's get you involved. Your time to shine. Hour number 2. Let's take questions on the Jaguars. 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Also, you can get us on YouTube. Go to 1010XL Into the Nights.
You press the button. Behind those doors, there's a life you always dreamt of.
This is 1010XL.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
Storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through June 30th. And financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
They were right. It could have waited. I can't believe it happened to me. Reaching to check my phone. Now my family has to hear that I'm never coming home again.
Officer?
I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
Every day, 9 people on Florida roadways don't make it home. I was one of the people that didn't make it home.
Ride with Do Not Disturb. Every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
E to the T here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find the scratch kitchen that comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Come on, somebody.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner with honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beard's has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum. plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands, wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beards now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beards can. And it's happening now through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol, Beards Diamonds, at St. John's Town Center.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
I'm Drew Scrimshire, president and publisher of the Jacksonville Business Journal. In business, timing is everything. That's why every morning at 8:15, our morning edition delivers the most important business news straight to the inboxes of Jacksonville's decision makers, executives, entrepreneurs, investors, and industry leaders. Want to know what the First Coast power players are reading before they start their day? Join them. Subscribe today to the Jacksonville Business Journal Morning Edition at bizjournals.com/Jacksonville.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5
That's
FM.
life. That's life. That's what all the people say.
I played a couple of my dad's favorite riffs.
You're riding high in April, shot down in May.
Including Frank Sinatra.
But I know I'm gonna change that tune.
He was a hell of a dancer, I'll tell you that.
When I'm back on top in June.
Hour number 2, again, devoted this show tonight to my dad, who I lost yesterday. Very difficult time for all of us, but, nearly 88 years, so you can't blink at that. I think most of us would sign up for 88 years. And have you seen the text line? I can't believe the response by you people. I mean, this really means a lot to me. Typically, when I'm self-serving, it's, for kind of wise crack ideas or whatever it may be. But something that is vulnerable is this: when you lose a loved one, just get an outpouring of support from Into the Night listeners. I can't express to you how much that really means. That's awesome. I don't know if you looked at the text line, Dylan. It's nuts.
Oh, I've seen it.
It's crazy, man. And because we all go through it and we're all going to deal with it, Again, I'm never going to give you advice, but the best for me is that I not only had a great relationship with my dad, but I told him everything. I told him how much I loved him, and he knew it. So, again, I'm not going to ever tell you what to do. But if you're in a battle and you have a grudge, and I think it would be wise to fix that. Tell the people that you do love and maybe you're angry with them and there's an issue, make amends, because I would hate for you to experience life losing them and never being able to tell them how you feel. That was not the problem for me. I've always loved my dad, and that's very comfortable feeling. But I care about you people. I do. Most of you. I do. I don't want you to be in that situation. So anyway, Just my opinion as far as that is concerned. Today was day one of mandatory minicamp, and the tone was upped, all right? The tempo was upped, according to Liam Cohen. I didn't notice that much of a difference. There was a little bit more group work, which I always love. I mean, the individual drills are fine. You know, again, especially when pads are on, a little bit more group work today, which was really good to see. But I think maybe the best way to describe things over at the Miller Electric Center through 11 off-season practices, 10 OTAs, 1 mandatory minicamp. Again, they'll do it again tomorrow and Thursday. Then we get a 5-week shutdown, which I really hate. I mean, I love these off-season workouts. I know I say it all the time. It's because I mean it. I love going and watch these guys practice. But I think balance. All right, if I was at a fine so far camp in words, the number one word that I would use is speed. Okay? That's noticeable. This has been a slow football team. I mean, you're talking about, Christian Kirk and whatever it may be. You can go back to James Robinson. I mean, this has been basically a slow football organization. And guys who can run can't catch. Speed. You bring in a guy like Tootin. Speed. You bring in a guy like Brown, Diami Brown, and you know what you have in Brian Thomas Jr. Again, made the highlight grab of the day today with perfect coverage by Tyson Campbell. I mean, it was just a pleasure to watch. It was a ball thrown by Trevor Lawrence that only a few people in the world can throw. And then obviously we haven't even mentioned Travis Hunter Jr. So speed would be number one. If you're joining us for the first time, we also got our first opportunity to watch Travis Hunter Jr. today defensively. And that was a treat. My only issue is I want a little bit more. But that's been a big part of the game plan. That's something that I've talked about with all my guests and myself is what is the formula here? We've never gone through this before. How much can you play them? How much can you practice them? You could tell by watching him, the kid wants to be out there. He's infectious. He loves football. Some guys, and just over the years, you get a break, you get a blow, you take a knee, you take off your helmet, you enjoy the fact that another team is in, second team, third team, whatever it may be. You can just look at this kid and you can tell, he wants to be out there every play. But we finally got to see him on defense today, so that was nice. Speed would be the number one word. Number two word for me would be balance. I think it's been a balanced camp where, one particular play, the offense steps up. The next play, the defense steps up. I told you about the Brian Thomas long bomb reception from Trevor Lawrence, Tyson Campbell in great coverage. Well, Tyson Campbell also made a really good pass breakup. And, Jordan Lewis, who spoke to the media today. Jordan Lewis made a really good play today on Parker Washington. Do we have the comment from Jordan Lewis? Yeah, on Brian Thomas. Can we get to that number 3? This I want you to hear. Jordan Lewis today just bragging about the second-year wide receiver.
He's smooth. He's very smooth, man, for his size. He gets in and out of his breaks really quickly. I think he's one of the top guys that I've ever guarded, honestly. And I feel like he can get better. And he's a very young guy, and I feel like the sky's the limit for him.
I mean, think about this. This is a well-rounded defensive back, primarily as a slot guy who's been in the league for a long period of time. And based on 11 practices, he just came out and said, honestly, this is one of the best players that I've ever guarded. That's the type of acknowledgement. And I get it at times. You get coach speak and you get player speak and you're going to overdo it when the camera goes on. But I didn't get that because he started talking about leadership and his role. And I think that's a big part of it for him defensively. But I tweeted that out. I put it on X or put it on Twitter that to me, that was one of the things today that really did impress me when looking at Jordan Lewis, who, again, made a really nice play. I thought Trevor had I thought Trevor made some nice passes today in red zone work, particularly to tight ends. But this ball here was a nice play by Jordan Lewis to knock away the touchdown pass to Parker Washington. So that would be the two that I would go with. Speed and balance. Everything else is really to be determined. I can't give you anything on the offense and defensive line, even though a lot of people today are really bragging about the defensive line, getting a good push today. And I was pretty expressive about this in the first hour. I can't talk to you about a push, not when pads aren't on. I don't know how to recognize that. The other difference, health. It's a healthy team. They're working out. I think 90 out of 91 are working out. You remember last year, you had all sorts of injuries, and that included free agents. I mean, Trent Baalke brought in guys who are on the mash. You bring in Eric Armstead, you bring in Gabe Davis, you bring in Darnell. You brought in guys, you paid them all this money, and they couldn't practice. I mean, why would you bring in injured players? Also, injured players who aren't necessarily young players. All right, Gabe Davis was only 25, but it just didn't make a lot of sense to me as well. So health would be the final thing that I would talk about. Hey, when it comes to the tempo, let's play number 2 from Liam Cohn. Allow you to hear it from the head coach himself. Here's his opinion on what really changes from the 10 OTAs to day 1 of mandatory minicamp.
Yeah, we just, tightened the racks down a little bit in terms of the amount of repetitions and just up the competes a little bit. I thought they did a good job today within that, still taking care of each other, practicing the right way. Yes, we upped the level of competition, but you didn't see a million people banging into each other or guys getting banged up, and it was cleaner. I was a little concerned with that, and that's obviously not what we're trying to get accomplished out of these next few days. But yeah, we were keeping score on the competition phase of it, and it was really the red zone and the third down periods we kind of kept score and just try to make it a little bit more fun for them. At the end of the day, these guys, when you have it on a script, that becomes a little monotonous for them. And so we're trying to do as much call-it periods as we can for us as coaches, but also I think the players enjoy it a little bit more for them to just go play and not be, previewing a script.
I'll tell you what else I've noticed so far in camp over at the Miller Electric Center. Not as many breaks. The Urban Meyer situation was just, you might as well bring out a lounge chair. They were breaking every third play, it felt like. And they had the guy on the loudspeaker saying, hydration, hydration. It's like a 2-year-old. Make sure you wipe. Make sure you wipe. Or maybe not a 2-year-old, maybe a 4-year-old. Make sure you wipe. I've never experienced anything so crazy in my life where hydrate. Media members are like, grabbing Gatorades and grabbing.
Was that every day thing?
It was every single practice.
Oh, my goodness.
It was like, it reminded me of like junior high school orientation.
Yeah, that's something we do in high school. Like we have our practice script, and when we send our practice script out to everybody, all the coaches at the bottom, it's never deny water.
And then the Doug Peterson era was a little bit more of country clubbish, if you will. And again, breaks were certainly a big part of it. Obviously, they break, and I don't know if you were to time it. I don't know how it's measured. But I'm just telling you, being out there for every one of these, everyone that the media is allowed to be out, it seems like they're not breaking as much. So I also haven't seen them run as much. Now, they run a lot in, one-on-one drills, and obviously they're playing football and 7-on-7 and 11-on-11. But it didn't feel like, I haven't seen them run gassers. I haven't seen them run wind sprints. Now, they could be doing that on days that there's no media availability. So I think the staff is they've brought in good people, okay? They've brought in coachable people. They have brought in players who, quote-unquote, love football. on my roster, unofficially, I have 47 of 91 new players. 47. Okay? I mean, that's scary. But I think that what is really interesting here with this staff is it almost feels like they need to personally be able to identify with these players. And to go as far as to say buddy, that would be wrong because it's still coach and player. But my understanding is that they are deep in with these guys. They understand their family. They understand where they're from. They understand all of this. Remember, the National Football League Players Association survey crushed Doug Peterson. Just destroyed him. And when you look at the stuff that was written, it was awful. You know, they wouldn't listen to the players. Just on and on and on and on. And, you know, even though Doug, I always thought Doug Peterson came across as like kind of a good guy, a guy that would be in support of his players. But obviously that really reared its ugly head, especially after the concussion to Trevor Lawrence. I get a total 180 here. When you look at Liam Cohen and everything else, it feels, and it begins with James Gladstone, and obviously Baselli's the only one who's been around here, okay? And he's very, very involved. No doubt about that. It feels like they are more intertwined with these younger kids, and that is so hard to do. I mean, again, I was with a former player today, and he was telling me about Coughlin. And as a matter of fact, his first question to me was like, when you traveled with the team on the charter back in the Coughlin years, did they tell you not to talk to the players? And I couldn't remember. You know, I'm talking about 97, 98, 96. I didn't travel with the team. I traveled, games I went to them commercially. And I was like, I don't remember. But I do remember this. I was a lot younger, and I knew these guys personally, and there were times that, you know, I would hang with certain members of the team outside of the football field. That charter, when they lost, you could not hear a pin drop. The charters I traveled on in the Gus Bradley, Doug Marrone era, but the Urban Meyer era, COVID hit. So again, we were traveling commercially. On some of the Gus Bradley, Doug Marrone thing, you'd be on that plane, you wouldn't know if they won or lost. And that's just the way things have changed. And we were talking about, this goes back to the every rep back when he played. I mean, these guys wanted every rep. They didn't want to lose their job. And it's just like, so many things. That's why I mentioned Travis Hunter earlier, how you could tell that he wanted to be back out there. There are situations now all across the pro football landscape. I'm not saying just Jacksonville. I'm saying the entire league, where that's no longer the case. And, you know, my conversation with him, I was like, Tom couldn't coach today. There's not a chance in the world that he could coach today. You've got to find a way to let's be honest here, respect the player personally. Back in the Coughlin days here, it was still clearly coach and player. And he put fear in everyone. He tried to put fear in us. I mean, Tom was great, but I remember, do you guys remember when in football, regardless of the situation, if you won the coin toss, you were taking the ball? Are you old enough to remember that? You probably not.
No,
you're too young.
I just missed that era.
Okay, it was beginning to change. Right, or maybe I'd have to look back on it. But in 96, you know, they went out and they won in Denver. And then in 97, they had to go back out to Denver. And I remember asking Tom Coughlin, if you win the toss, are you going to defer and go on defense? Which happens more now than actually taking the ball. But this is the way they came. And he just looked at me. He's like, yeah, right. I'm going to give John Elway another possession. Next. And it was like, it was like it was the stupidest question that I could possibly. Now it would totally apply, but that's how the game. But Tom intimidated everyone. Tom wasn't friends with any of these people, but that was the way the league was. Liam Cohen, if he's going to be a successful coach, he's going to have to find a way to push the right buttons with today's player, with today's pampered athletes. Find a way to get them to do and play as hard as they possibly can. I'm sure personally, this has got to drive a guy like Baselli crazy because he was he was coached so hard. And I'm not saying they're not going to coach these guys hard, but you coach them differently. I mean, Coughlin used to find, if I could sit here and do an entire show on Tom Coughlin finds, how he used to find these guys. I didn't hear of one Doug Peterson fine. I don't know if they did it or not. It never became public. Okay, but that's a tall order here. You got a first-time head coach, first-time offensive coordinator, first-time defensive coordinator, first-time general manager, first-time vice president of football operations. First-timers, 5 of them, your most important people. So there's going to be some growing pains, but yeah, that's the biggest thing is watching how the relationship is now coach to player compared to the way it once was. All right, we got much more to do. 641-1010 if you want to get in. That's brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Also, welcome to those watching us tonight on YouTube. Just go to 1010XL into the night.
This is 1010XL.
Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Home of the Jaguars.
It's Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. As temperatures warm up around us, ants come out in droves. And when they move into your home or business, it's unnerving. Terminix knows that ants add up fast. But Terminix subtracts them faster because living with ants isn't any fun. When ants show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with an ant problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Ballou here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 10th, 1981, Pete Rose ties Stan Musial's NL record of 3,630 hits.
This is Hayes Carlion for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. The online banking services are outstanding. So easy to use, depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. I also go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Power bill just went up again? Why keep paying more? Clay Solar can wipe that electric bill out. Right now, they'll cover your first 6 months' payments. Visit claysolar.com today to schedule your free consultation. claysolar.com.
Jacksonville, Hickens calling it. Checkmate Coating, my MVP. Tough, slick floors that dominate any space.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
If golf is your thing, you'll want to check out the 2025 Hills Pass at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Unlimited golf, including golf car, and preferred tee times for just one low price. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to purchase your Hills Pass today.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
DUI, BUI, don't stress. Call me Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
Got a leaky faucet, AC blowing hot air, a funky smelling septic tank? No worries, Duck Rooter has your back. We're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, so you can stop juggling 3 companies and just make one easy call. Our expert techs are fast, friendly, and really know their ducks. I mean stuff. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckrooter.com. Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
I've been searching a long time. Someone exactly like you. I've been traveling all around the world.
All right, I lost my dad yesterday, and it's been tough. He would sing this to my mom. You know, the brain tumors to my mom, it basically made her a mute for the last 2 years of her life. It was just awful. But my dad would sing this to her every night. You know, he was married for 59 years. None of that crap about having an argument and calling it a marriage. I mean, there was something about working things out back then. Raising 3 kids. But he sang this all the time. So some Van Morrison there. That's the only, one of the most comforting parts of all this is that the cancer ate him up, but it did it in a very short period of time. Or at least that we were aware of. I think his Beefeater gin martinis probably masked a great deal of the pain. He's also a proud guy that wasn't a huge fan of going and, getting checked up and going to the doctor. But anyway, he was a good singer. Appreciate you allowing me to talk about my dad here tonight. No doubt about it. All right. I wonder here about the Panthers and whether or not what they did a night ago is going to put Edmonton out of this completely. They just physically ripped them apart last night. And this series has been so good. We saw an overtime in game 1. We saw a double overtime in game 2. They just dominated them in their own barn. Every phase of the game. I mean, their top 3 lines scored. Before you knew it, it was 2-0. Brad Marchand at the age of 37 is absolutely incredible. Edmonton was forced to pull their goaltender. They tried to turn the series around a little bit by dropping the gloves late in the third period and became some old school hockey Looked like at one point we were going to have 5 fights at one time. For those of you who did not see that last night, it ended up being, pretty good considering the game was an absolute blowout. But listen, Edmonton has the best player in the world. Edmonton was down 0-2 to Los Angeles. They can come from behind and win some games. But I just feel like last night they really bruised them both physically as well as mentally. So unfortunately, we're going to have to wait another night. It will not be played on Wednesday. Again, I'm going to bring Jessica Blaylock back on tomorrow. We'll spend 10 minutes or so previewing Game 4, which, of course, is going to be Thursday night. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Well, let's get to Liam Cohen. Again, after practice today, Trevor Lawrence noticed with a sleeve. And I've seen some reports where he wore a sleeve earlier in camp. I don't know if I just missed it or I wasn't as observant as I had to be. Again, I watched 90 players or try to, and I spent almost all my time on offense. Somehow I may have missed it, which can happen. Clearly today, I was aware of it. Liam Cohen told us exactly why Lawrence was wearing the sleeve.
No, I think he just had a little bit of just general soreness. We threw a lot of balls kind of last week and really leading up into, he feels good. He said it wasn't really an issue. It was more sometimes when you just have something to keep it warm, it just helps, any type of thrower. So I think that was more just maintenance than it is anything that's really bothering him.
Well, there you have it. Yeah. And, his pitch count was really up early in camp, and that surprised some because, there were reports that he was not going to throw as much, even though the surgery, as we know, was on the non-throwing shoulder. You just kind of wanted to bring him along a little bit. I admire the fact that he really upped his input, really upped his reps. As a matter of fact, today, and now we understand why, with the sleeve and still a great deal of reps, maybe not as many as you would ideally like. I hope that changes once you get to training camp. With apologies to your second, your third, your fourth quarterback, okay, yeah, you want to get Nick Mullins some reps. John Wolford and Seth Hennigan, all right, but, come on. It's about Trevor Lawrence. I absolutely am a every snap count guy. The late David Lamb, we used to battle about this in a very, professional manner. Dave was like, nah, it doesn't matter. Get here, get healthy, play, once you get into the game. And he gave me examples of guys that would, back in his day that were not in shape and would use training camp to get in shape. And when the game is on, things change. Well, the league is much more technical now. The game has grown so much that trying to comprehend schematically what is going on. But my opinion on this was way before that. Used to drive me nuts when Florida State didn't know who their quarterback was. And in the month of August, you heard it was a quarterback competition. I used to be like, are you kidding me? Find out who your quarterback is and give him every single snap with the first team. Every snap. And again, you got 4 in camp. So you got a camp arm in Seth Hennigan. And we do understand that Lawrence is coming back from surgery. We get it. But I'm happy with what I saw. Remember the initial report. Non-throwing shoulder surgery, right? His second had one in Clemson. Remember Urban Meyer talking about his battle back from surgery right after he was drafted. And, I'm trying to remember, was it before the draft or after the draft? Because he conducted that workout with Trevor Lawrence on the campus of Clemson. So it had to have been after. But anyway, the reports were hopes to be 100% this year. before training camp. Well, it appears he's pretty close to 100% now in OTAs and mandatory minicamp with still 5 weeks to go until training camp. You know, outside of just the quote-unquote general soreness that he does have. So I think that's pretty good news there involved with Trevor Lawrence. All right, ton of emails in tonight. 2629, not emails, text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. Here's what it says. I heard last week practice tomorrow was delayed from 8 to 9:15. How do we know? No, I am under the impression, let me look at this once again, that practice tomorrow starts at 8:50. Let's see here. 8:55 tomorrow morning. Okay. Well, no. Actually, Jaguars football executives are going to address the fans tomorrow at the Miller Electric Center at 8:55. Practice will be from 9:05 to 10:55. So there you go. That is the explanation right there. Again, if you want to get into it with the rah-rah and all that type of stuff and get fired up, which I think would be a whole heck of a lot of fun. Is 8:55 too early for a Bloody Mary on a Wednesday morning? Hell no. I don't know if you can get one there. I don't know, but it sounds like a good idea to me. At 9:05 to 10:55, practice will be open to the media, and tomorrow we'll hear from Liam Cohen again. Back-to-back days. I like that. We're going to hear from him on Thursday as well. Also tomorrow, Anthony Campanelli, and how about Travis Hunter?
Finally.
So we're going to have some words from Travis Hunter.
He only spoke the first day of rookie minicamp, right? That's Saturday.
Spoke when he got here, right? And he spoke during rookie minicamp. Absolutely. That very first day. And the question I gave him was a absolutely phenomenal answer, okay? Because when I'd seen him in clothes, I saw him play at Colorado State, right? Aware of his career playing at Jackson State and all that. But when I finally saw Travis Hunter during that first day of rookie minicamp, I was like, oh my God, look at those legs. How's he going to be able to hold up? So I asked him after practice, I said, even though you played down in South Florida, grew up in South Florida, you played in the state of Georgia, you're used to this heat and humidity, how difficult is it going to be to keep this weight on, and what is your ideal playing weight this year? He just looked right at me, and he said, my ideal playing weight is whatever coach wants it to be. And I was like, are you kidding me?
That's an adult, mature answer right there.
I mean, that's like trying to take it to the rack and having Artis Gilmore, trying to lay up a ball and Artis Gilmore just stand in the paint and push that into about the 12th row. I'm like, wow, man, that is impressive. That is absolutely phenomenal to hear this man answer it in such a team way. You can't say enough about him. But you'll get that opportunity tomorrow if you get out there. Again, I don't know how these tickets work for tomorrow. My only advice would be to go to Jaguars.com. I don't know if they're already sold out or if there's room for you. I just don't. But I would go to Jaguars.com and look for it, get all the information coming up on Wednesday's program. I'm going to talk with one of the youngsters tomorrow as well who's at an interesting camp. In Jalen McLeod. A guy who played at a smaller school. I think it was Appalachian State. They went off to Auburn. I'll double back on that. I don't know if he was Appalachian State. I'll have to look at that once again. But was really pretty productive in his career at Auburn. He a little undersized as a pass rusher. Kind of reminds me of a Larry Hart. Going back years ago, out of Michigan, a little bit like Yasir Abdullah. And they have Abdullah listed at 6'1", 240. and they have McLeod listed at 6'1", 236. But again, what is his role going to be? Is he strictly an outside linebacker? Is he a guy that can be an edge? Right now the Jaguars have 4 on the edge. Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker. You add Ogba, and you add Dewan Smoot. So be interested to talk with this guy tomorrow. Looking forward to doing that with Jalen McLeod. All right, let's put our final thoughts on this one right here tonight. No place I'd rather be than Hogan Road. But, the good folks over at the Blue Crab House, they're open until 9 o'clock. Right now on Tuesday, you can get $2 margaritas. You can get $9 margarita pitchers. Tomorrow, $1 steamed oysters, 4:30 to 9. That'll be the deal as well on Wednesday, right off of San Jose on Julington Creek Road. It's the Blue Crab House.
Could someone talk to me? When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't see him, but he talks to me.
1010XL.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you spend a lot of time talking about diamonds, but what about some of the colored stones we see?
Frank, when you talk about colored stones, there are literally hundreds of varieties and species in the gem kingdom. As certified gemologists, we're trained gemologically on the identification of each of these and can separate the man-made synthetics and imitations from the real thing. But at Underwoods, we can go to the next step. At Underwoods, we're active buyers of loose-colored stones in the world markets, so we have an understanding of the values of colored stones as they relate back to the various qualities. In fact, just like diamonds, we buy most of our colored stones loose, then create the pieces of jewelry to hold the gems. You can be assured not only of the authenticity and quality of our colored stone jewelry, but also of the value. So if you're in the market for a fine quality emerald, sapphire, ruby, aquamarine, amethyst, citrine, tourmaline, peridot, or any other gemstone, come by and see us at Underwoods.
Are you experiencing high energy bills? Now is the time to upgrade your old inefficient windows and doors. Don't miss Renewal by Andersen's 30th anniversary sale. For a limited time, buy one, get one 30% off all windows and patio doors. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com now to take advantage of this incredible offer. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service. Restrictions apply. License number CGC1527613.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman.
We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly, because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Bernardina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Bernardina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company.
Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a godly example. Every day, we're setting an example in our words and actions. And many times, we can act one way in one setting and then totally different in another setting. My encouragement for you is to not send out mixed messages. God is depending on you to set the example in people's lives. You don't know, but you may be the only Bible that someone ever sees today.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Prosser here. Spring has sprung, and it's a great time to sell your house, but only if you have the very best on your side, and those very best are Chad and Sandy Newman. Spring selling season's here. Rates are down. Activity's up. It's the best time in years to sell your home, in fact, but there are homes sitting on the market. They don't have the right representation. That's where Chad and Sandy step in. Maybe you're worried your home needs repairs or updating and it won't sell for a good price. Maybe your family's growing and you need more space. Whatever the reason that you need to sell your home, Chad and Sandy deliver this promise to you. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Sounds pretty hassle-free to me. Take it from Mike and Rosemary in St. Augustine. We were determined to buy an affordable home in a specific school zone, but we didn't qualify for the loan needed to get one. Chad and Sandy's team worked with the lender, negotiated a higher qualification price, lower interest. It was huge, $200 less per month. Do it today. Call 414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com.
Neck pain, back pain, or headache? Shinatri Chiropractic has 4 locations: Westside, 103rd, Riverside, Arlington, and the Beaches. Acupuncture, dry needling, physical therapy. Relief starts today. Shinatri Chiropractic, 743-6700.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Today was day 1 of Jaguars mandatory minicamp, and it was a great work day. They upped the tempo, and it was a balanced effort. Offense making some plays, defense making some plays. On defense, our first opportunity to see Travis Hunter. And that was a lot of fun. It was. I wish we got a little bit more as far as reps, but, I mean, this is going to be an incredibly long, drawn-out process about how much to use them and how much not to use them. Trevor Lawrence today in a sleeve, his throwing arm. General soreness is what Liam Cohen ended up saying. And, I just, once again, it feels like the competition is really going to be just that once camp gets underway in late July. Really excited to see about what's going on the offensive line. I can't tell you anything. I just got one here. Someone text me about how Milam, I'm paraphrasing now because I've moved on. I've gotten a ton of texts tonight. But about how Milam is going to replace Cleveland as the starting left guard. And he's like, is it time to admit it? And it's like, I can't admit anything because you haven't seen him hit. But we're going to be able to see that. And that running back competition is going to be a lot of fun. Backup tight ends or the second tight ends today, like Munt and what have you, had good days. And I think they're thought of much more as, blocking tight ends. Brenton Strange is your receiving tight end. Again, if you go back and you look at plays that were run, the way that the offensive scheme was, the second most amount of plays that Liam Cohen ran a year ago in Tampa Bay were 2 tight end sets. So you got to remember that. And when you hear about the speed, you think pass the ball, find a way to get the ball to these football players, and they're going to do that. But let's not kid anyone here. They still want to be able to line up and run the football. And you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. So thought it was a good day today overall. for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And again, make sure you get out there tomorrow. Again, a lot of people have been asking me. They're going to talk to the fans at the Miller Electric Center at 8:55, and then practice will actually start at 9:05. So, again, I don't know how to get tickets or whatever outside of just going to Jaguars.com and get all of the information there. But, yeah, that's what we have left. We have Wednesday's practice, and then Thursday, typically on Thursday, and I hope they don't do it, a lot of times they bring in an ice cream truck or they go out paintballing or they go to a movie or stuff like that. They just shut it down kind of a reward to, a solid off season. I don't know what Liam Cohen's plans are, but I hope we get a workout on Thursday as well. If you do get one, I would expect it to be less than tomorrow.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Hacker, all fresh after, 10 days on a cruise?
It was an 8-nighter.
8-nighter?
And I'm putting in a good next 2 nights because then I'm on a plane to Vegas on Thursday.
How about that?
Kenny Chesney didn't check on the schedule of our cruise, so we can only go when he's playing Vegas.
Depending on where you're going to be at the Sphere, you can see Truth Teller engraved in it. I did that during the U2 show. I was under several different substances.
Oh, good.
I did it there.
Good. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, we're staying at the Venetian, which I guess there's a walkway between the Venetian and the Sphere. So we're going to be in the Mike Bianchi umbrella, if you will, between the Venetian and the Sphere. That's going to be our kind of our stomping grounds, if you will, for those 3 days.
Actually, you can't touch the Sphere, but it feels like you can. The way that everything is, you're going to be absolutely blown away.
Well, you've been and Carline's been,
right?
So I keep hearing great things, so I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I saw you two there, and Carline saw the Eagles.
The Eagles, yep, and I'll see Kenny Chesney.
All right. What do you got coming up?
Yeah, Fred Johnson's going to join us. I had a chance to catch up with him at the Miller Electric Center. Boy, I'm not the tallest guy, 5'6". I'm kind of used to interviewing taller athletes. Might have been the tallest person I've ever talked to today.
Really?
Fred Johnson's a big dude.
Yeah.
Big dude.
A lot of people think he's going to win that job.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation. We talked about his time in Philadelphia, winning a Super Bowl, obviously his time in Gainesville, what led him to Jacksonville. And he had a good message. People don't realize this. He was an undrafted free agent that is now into year 7 in the NFL. So he made it. What's kind of his message to the other undrafted guys this year here in Jacksonville? So we'll talk about that. Our NFC North preview continues. Andy Herman of 105.7 in Milwaukee. We'll talk about the Packers offseason, a little bit on Anthony Campanile, a little bit on Jair Alexander as well. So we got a lot to do with you till 10 o'clock tonight.
Sounds good. And I tell you what, Fred Johnson, he's not being paid like a starting left tackle, but a lot of people think he could end up winning that job.
And look, there's 6 new offensive linemen here, 4 free agents and the 2 in the draft class. I think all 6 make the team, so I think there's going to be a lot of change on that O-line.
Have a great show.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, there he goes. Hacker Nation coming up right now. That's going to do it for us. Thank you to Robert Hany, Jaguar Center. Thank you to Edgar Bennett. Dylan Denmark produced it. Thank you to everyone out there for just saying what you said after this being a very difficult show for me. I lost my dad yesterday. I was with him in Tampa when he passed, and it's been a very hard 24 hours. But I love the listeners of Into the Night, and I appreciate all of your comments. Dad listening above, I guess, for the first time ever. So let me ask you, Dad, how is heaven?